who was Jimi Hendrix, simply him, is considered by many to be the greatest guitarist of all time. He was a master in the art of using the wah pedal, created in 1966, right at the beginning of your career. In addition to being a genius on the guitar, he was also a singer and songwriter. Get ready to dive into the story of this rock legend. James Marshall Hendrix was born on November 27, 1942 in Seattle, Washington State. Son of James Allen Hendrix and Lucille Jeter, Jimmy had a very difficult childhood and adolescence. When he was 9 years old, his parents divorced and he and his younger brother, Leon, lived with relatives. When he was 16 years old, he suffered one of the worst blows of fate in his life. His mother, who abused alcohol, died at the age of 32 with cirrhosis. Even when he was very young, he already showed an interest in music, playing with a broom as if it were a guitar. When he turned 11, his father gave him a guitar as a gift. Since then he spent hours and hours playing. He was self-taught and learned everything by himself. At age 12 he got his first guitar and started forming bands around the neighborhood. Jimmy dropped out of school to work with his father in the gardening service. However, he found the service tiring and boring. Jimmy decided to join the army, where he served as a paratrooper. He was released less than a year after hurting his back in a jump. He began his professional career in 1965 playing with bands of renowned artists such as Curtis Knight, B.B. King, Isley Brothers and Little Richard. His first TV appearance was in 1965 playing in Little Richard's band. At that time, when he was a support musician, his life was very difficult. He earned poorly and faced many financial difficulties. But in 1966 the situation changed and he managed to form his own band. As at the time he used the stage name Jimmy James, the band was called Jimmy James and Blue Flames. They started playing in several clubs and Jimmy was very successful among guitarists. In 1966, while playing with his band at the Café What? In New York, he was discovered by Ches Chandler, bassist for the famous British rock group The Animals. Chandler made a proposal to Jimmy to take him to London and manage his career. Once in London, Chandler became Hendrix's music producer and helped him form a new band. So they hired bassist Noel Redding and percussionist Mitch Mitchell, and the legendary psychedelic rock band The Jimi Hendrix The Experience was born. The band started playing dozens of shows across Europe and Hendrix's fame grew more and more, especially among musicians. Before recording their first album, the band released 3 singles that were very successful in England and on European radio, being among the 10 most played on radio.
The Jimi Hendrix Experience. Hey, hey, Joe. Where you going with that gun of yours? Hey, all in my brain. Lady days. Well, after all the checks, all in the boxes.
Jimi Hendrix was so brilliant that he impressed renowned musicians such as Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, The Who and the Beatles. The guys became such fans that they always went to his shows just to see him play. Although the band had a huge success in Europe, it was still unknown in the USA, Hendrix's birthplace. So he prepared an incendiary debut to impact the American public.
At the Monterey International Pop Music Festival in 1967, Hendrix set fire to and smashed his Stratocaster guitar. This became one of the most iconic performances of his career. Hendrix had an electric and captivating stage presence. His performances were a show in themselves, like playing the guitar behind his back and even with his teeth. One of his trademarks was his extravagant costume. He was inspired by his grandmother Nora Hendrix, who was a theater actress and dreamed of being famous worldwide. Nora passed away in 1984 at the age of 100. The band released 3 albums that became icons in the history of rock. In 2005, Rolling Stone magazine ranked Are You Experienced, the #1 album, as 15th on its list of the 500 greatest albums of all time.
Now you know you are a cute little heartbreaker. You say your mama ain't home and ain't moccasin just to play with me and you won't get burned. Then must put some kind of way out of here. Say the joker to the girl, I'll stand up next to about 10. I'll chop it down with the edge of my hand.
Although the band was a resounding success, it only lasted a short time, not even reaching 3 years of activity. Personal conflicts between the members dissolved the band, which ended in June 1969. In August of the same year, Hendrix formed a new band called Gypsy Sons and Rainbows to play at the Woodstock Festival. His performance at the Woodstock Festival, where he played an extraordinary improvised version of the American national anthem, was forever marked as one of the most emblematic of his career. Jimi Hendrix was known for using and abusing a drug called LSD for much of his life. The continued use of this drug, along with the stress of fame and a busy touring schedule, contributed to health problems, including insomnia and exhaustion. And it was precisely because of insomnia that on September 18, 1970, he made the biggest mistake of his life. On the fateful night after returning from a party with his girlfriend Monica Dannerman, he was so drugged he couldn't sleep, and his girlfriend was taking sleeping pills, and he decided to take 2 pills. According to what she said in a documentary, it had no effect. He took 7 more pills. They were staying in a hotel in London, and an hour later when she went to approach him, as he had many commitments, in addition to not responding, liquid was still coming out of his mouth. An ambulance was called, and a short time later, Jimi Hendrix was pronounced dead at the hospital. The official cause of death was asphyxiation, caused by his own vomit, and intoxication caused by pills and alcohol. According to the autopsy, in addition to the sleeping pills, there was a huge amount of red wine in Hendrix's body, something that doctors had never seen. Jimi Hendrix's death remains a mystery to this day, and there are several conspiracy theories. Many believe he was murdered. Others believe he took his own life, and some say there was medical negligence as he was pronounced dead at the hospital. Jimi Hendrix passed away at the age of 27 and was yet another member of the famous and macabre 27 Club, a term used for music idols who died at the age of 27. Among them are Janis Joplin, Brian Jones, and Kurt Cobain. Monica Dannerman took her life in 1996 at the age of 50. 2 days after losing a legal battle with Kathy Etching, Hendrix's most famous ex-girlfriend. And that was the life of Jimi Hendrix, one of the greatest guitarists in history and who will forever be remembered.